Hey team, we're with our next industry expert, the great Jeffrey Palmer. But I guess at the moment, Jeff, and we're talking about with international travel non-existent at the moment, there's a lot of people that are, and the caravanning world is going gangbusters. So there's a lot of people getting into caravanning, RVs or motorhomes, and doing it for the first time. So we want to make that transition as smooth as possible and make education for those who tow. Tell us a bit about it.
Oh, yes, Scott. So Jeff with Get About, been doing the training with the Get About group and the obviously well-known national name,
Yep.
TowEd. So these courses are provided nationally around Australia, every state, and I represent them up here in Southeast Queensland.
Wow.
So
And I guess, mate, as you were going to allude to, is hopping in the vehicle, you shouldn't be scared. And I know it's a natural for a lot of people to hop in and they're a little bit worried, look behind what they're towing, what they're driving. You're here to run the courses, to put people's minds at ease.
Well, the biggest thing I find is actually when you get people on a course, because I do the low-risk driving course as well, is people actually misunderstand the dynamics of their car.
Okay.
So obviously when you put a tonne or more behind that vehicle, it's going to change dramatically.
Yeah, okay.
And it's having a misunderstanding initially.
And I guess the big thing for you is people that are out there watching this, they can come and be a part of the schools. Tell us about those.
That's right. So on our course days, we can have private lessons. We do small groups, no more than 3. So we cover all those basics in your manoeuvring of the trailer, but we also talk about all the issues that we experience on the road, because we're seeing a lot on Facebook and dash cams at the moment what's going wrong.
So what are some of the things? Just run through some of the probably more common questions that you'll get in driver school. What are the big things that people are worried about?
Well, the biggest thing to top up, which has already been spoken about with Gary and Dave, is obviously that compliance. Is my combination the correct weights, right? And how will that impact the car? That's still one of the biggest terms. And the lovely D-shackles, which is also Gary's already covered. So that's one of the biggest things. But yeah, I do get questions. Well, what happens when I hit the brakes? How, and we'll get that illustrious sway going.
Yes, that's
What
the
do
big
we
thing,
do?
the sway. Tell us what we do.
All right, so there's basically 2 things. A couple of references is the tail wagging the dog or fish tailing. Then we get the true sway. Now, as a person who had a driver's license for a couple of years, been a young fella, I have experienced both. And the true sway, I was actually a passenger in the back seat on a course day. And I was just started doing like this side to side in the back seat. And the driver actually caused it. But the problem is, how many of our people towing actually know how to respond correctly?
Exactly right. And we're going to find out right now.
The problem is we only get 1 or 2 seconds to respond. So we've actually got to be on the ball all the time. So that is your electric brake. So if your vehicle is fitted with electric brakes, we actually have to, and this might sound funny, stretch the 2 vehicles apart, but yet we're hitched in the middle.
Okay.
So how do we do it? We brake the trailer, car stays at speed, that physically stretches them 2 apart. So we get that 1 or 2 seconds to operate the emergency brake function on your trailer.
So Jeff, electric brakes are here. I guess tell us, do we all need those?
All right, Scott, so we're sitting in Dave Waycheck's car, so because he's got a van, he's already got one fitted.
Yep.
So these are not standard in the vehicle. When you get a caravan, you have to fit this aftermarket. And they are legally required on Australian roads when our van reaches 2,000 kgs.
Well, okay.
You can fit them for any van size, but that's the legal requirement to now have one fitted. So obviously we set this to a level. Everyone has a level of gauge to the type of speed we're doing for the required braking and weight.
Yep.
But when we're talking about our fishtail or our sway, and we want to stretch the 2 vehicles apart, so the car will stay at the speed we're driving, we brake the trailer, so we are literally pulling them apart. So that is pushed in, and you keep it pushed in. That is the emergency brake function.
Yep.
So when we apply that, we just keep it pushed for as long as we require for the 2 vehicles to pull back into a straight line. And when it does that, you just release it and keep driving. It's actually that simple.
So stretch them apart, straightens them up.
That's right.
Off we go.
Straightens them up, and that's basically it. So that day when I was sitting in the back seat, when I started sliding side to side, we only a little 13-foot single axle trailer, not a big thing we see on Australian roads. And I'm sitting there going, this is going to be interesting. And unfortunately, the driver wasn't the one that responded. So it just shows you the mentality goes for the driver, it's panic.
Yeah, exactly.
On this particular day, it was the husband or the passenger who leaned across and pushed that button. So that's why the statement's made that electric brake controller should be accessible to your passenger. So somebody else can actually operate that function. And
What about experience-wise? We talked about that earlier.
okay.
People may not have ever done this before. People have done it forever. You can never stop learning.
So that's correct. So the biggest thing I do find, so if I do any seminars, one of the first questions I actually ask people is, who's actually been through a low risk or defensive drive course? Right? Because those courses teach you about your performance and dynamics of your car. And the percentage ratio is probably about 1 in 10,000. It's not very high. So it's quite sad to actually see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But now you're going to put all this weight behind it. So if you don't understand how your car performs in an emergency drive, how are you going to go with all that weight? Because it's going to completely change its dynamics.
So the big thing I guess we're taking it is give your companies a call or go onto the website, find out where they can join it, come and do the course with you, hit the road and go and enjoy.
That's it, because we want everyone to actually reach their destination,
Yeah.
get back home, not impact anyone else on the road, and actually enjoy their trip. And that's what it's all about.
How good.
Bit of education doesn't go astray.
Oh, definitely. And that's exactly
right.
what we're doing here on the Caravanning Queensland website. Remember, if you've got any further questions, not only about what Jeff has spoken about today, but any of our experts, leave a comment below. Someone will get back to you. How exciting. The borders here in Queensland have been relaxed. The travel restrictions are relaxed. We can get out there and enjoy this great state of ours. Stay safe, stay well, see you on the road.